Hey there, YouTube. It's Kurt here. Today we're going to talk about hand traps and which ones are best for going second. Now, you can use these in purely going second strategies like Cyber Dragons, like Matrains, like Shadows, like Invokes Mech Knights. All those strategies love these hand traps, but you can also use them in the side deck for some strategies as well. And I will go over what the downsides of using each one is and which ones may be better than others. All right, so first we're going to take a look at No Material. No Material can be a really excellent card depending on the strategy. Now, we still are going to have to figure out what this new meta is really going to consist of. We don't know how much it's going to look like the last one, but No Material will still probably be a solid bet for going second, and it's not bad in the side deck. A lot of people have chosen to play this in the side deck. In the last meta, it could just completely ruin Orcus Day, and that was kind of that could be problematic for them. It could also ruin Thunder Dragon's Day. If you No Material the right card, sometimes they're locked into a Guard Dragon. Well, yeah, it kind of sucks for them. So No Material does have that, but the thing is, a lot of times it's really easy to work around No Material. And yeah, of course, it's only good on the very first turn of the game, but there's still some utility if you use it right, and it all depends on what's going to be good in this meta. So that's the one thing I wanted to cover with No Material, and it can be called by the grave, and that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks to have a hand trap that's kind of very niche and have it be able to be called. That's the only problem. They probably could have made that a little bit more powerful in that aspect. All right, but we're going to move on from No Material. The next hand trap that I want to talk about, and this is one of my personal favorites, and it comes with a very obvious downside, but the rewards on it can be devastating for any meta player. And I'm talking about Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. All right, so if you're going second, normally this hand trap only works going second unless you're playing like a Striker engine, because you have to control less monsters than your opponent. But if you have something like, in this meta, like Skull Dread, or you have anything like Galatea in it, well, it can completely just shut down anything your opponent is trying to do. I've played around with putting Elply in it. I've played around with putting Electromite in my extra deck. If you have extra deck space, this can be completely devastating for any meta strategy. And the obvious downside is if you're going anti-meta, you can use up to like 4 slots trying to be anti-meta. I just happen to have the room in things that I play to actually play even more than that. But it isn't even always useful against every meta strategy. My favorite example is Sky Striker. A lot of times Sky Striker, well, it'll get the monster that it wants on the field at least once. Say you want to cherries the Shizuku. Well, a lot of times when you activate cherries, it's going to be chained to the Ray effect, and Ray is going to get the first Shizuku on the field anyway. So those are the obvious downsides there, but Ghost Reaper can be really, really effective when used correctly. So Ghost Reaper is a good card, and I think it would make a lot of sense in Invokes Mech Knights. It's made a lot of sense for me. Cyber Dragon's really, really awesome. I also believe Fluffles likes to go second. Fluffles could probably make use of that as well. Really, really good, and some good targets for this meta would probably be Galatea, would probably be Skull Dread, LP, Electromite. We'll see if Salamangreat makes any sort of recovery, but a good bet for Salamangreat, if it's still around, would be Sunlight Wolf. All right, so we will move on from there, and we'll talk about probably my favorite one out of this bunch. We're going to talk about Psyframe Gamma. All right, so Psyframe Gamma, I think it comes with almost no downside whatsoever. And the only downside to it is that you have to play a 1-card brick in your deck to play it, to get it on the field. But to me, the upside is just so up and beyond worth it. There are 2 upsides to this card. One is that the monster cannot be called by the grave. Because you're summoning it, you put it on the field, and you put Psyframe Driver on the field. That is one benefit of the card. It cannot be called by the grave, so it's almost always going to resolve. Or it could be Ash Blossom, but even if it's Ash Blossomed, it's not a once per turn. You can use Gamma again on your turn if it gets ashed. That is what's great about it. All right, so the number two thing that's really awesome about this, not only is it something like an effect failure, but it's much more powerful than an effect failure because of its utility. The utility of this card that lets you not only negate effects on the field, it lets you negate effects in the graveyard or in the hand, and it doesn't just negate the effect, it destroys the monster. So let me paint you this scenario. Your opponent's playing Crusadia Guard Dragon. They get their Link 2 on the board that's trying to move their LP to a different zone. You use Gamma on that, you get your monsters on the field, and you get that Link 2 off the board. All of a sudden, they have an LP pointing to nothing, and they can't summon anything but dragon monsters for the rest of the turn because they control a guard dragon. They can't do anything because you just removed that Link 2. That is really, really, really amazing, and I just hope you guys understand how powerful that actually is. And there's even one more thing I want to talk about here. Not only is Gamma have that amazing utility there, but Gamma, you can use it on your own turn. Say you control no monsters and you activate something that adds from deck to hand, or would summon from the deck while you control no monsters. Well, if your opponent Ash Blossoms you or uses something like a Hot Red Dragon, well, then on your own turn, you get 2 free summons on the board to use as material for anything, and you get that destruction. That is completely amazing utility. So, for example, I've had plays where I had a 2-card combo. I had Gamma and I had Urgent. Urgent was going to get negated by a Cyber Dragon Infinity. The Infinity activated. I activated Gamma, and then I had 4 monsters on field. I went into Skulldred, which Skulldred was a Cherry's target for other decks. I went to Skulldred, drew 4, and then that was the only way I was going to OTK in that situation. So that was pretty amazing, in my opinion. I think this Gamma is just such an amazing card, and it's so great in the side deck, even if you have it going for a strategy, that it's not something that you want to ignore. Now I want to give a shout out to Phantasme. Now Phantasme right now is $80 for a reason. The card is just excellent and cycles you through your cards and gets you a free +1 on the board. Now Phantasme does kind of conflict with some strategies because of its typing or its attributes, but for the most part it's pretty staple for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players. The thing is, it is a hard once per turn, so the only disadvantage it has over something like Gamma is that it can be ashed, and then you can't even use it until your opponent's next turn, potentially. And that's what kind of sucks about this card. Also, a lot of people like playing this going first, but it can be a little bit bricky going first, like any other hand trap in the game. But otherwise, Phantasme is a solid option because Link monsters are probably not going to go anywhere. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like it, subscribe, and I will hopefully see you later with more videos. Peace.